Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Scratch a Track podcast presented by the Dude and Grim Show. I'm the Dude.
And I'm Grim. And if you would do me the honor, Mr. Duderino, and hold up the album, because I don't have this one on vinyl, although it is one of my favorites. Today we are going to be discussing The Fragile, left and right, by 9 Inch Nails.
Dude, it is so unbelievably fragile. It's amazing. This might be one of my favorite records. Like, I'm so proud to have. It's 3 discs. The CD is 2 discs, so it is a double album. And it's just glorious. It's glorious. Big fan of it.
What is the Halo number on that release?
Looks like Halo 14 here.
Wow. So that's interesting. So the 3rd studio album, yet the 14th Halo release. So there's a lot of singles, a lot of other things.
Yeah, I forget exactly, the whole Halo thing, but I think it's kind of each piece of content that they put out.
Yeah, it has its own numbers.
So Broken was like an EP.
And then Fixed.
Extensive, then Fixed.
Yeah.
And I think they had probably some remixes, some music videos, different projects and things like that.
Downward Spiral, further down the spiral.
Because I also have, and I have brought with me, let's see what Halo this is. So Halo 17 is the DVD, All That Could Have Been, which is the live kind of performance concert where a lot of the songs, I think tons of the songs that are on this album are on this. So this is from the Fragility Tour. So it's pretty cool. Awesome DVD. Highly recommend that as well. Great
Fragile.
songs.
It's Italian.
Fragile. It's Italian. Exactly.
I actually wish I would have had that leg to hold up. That would have been cool. But I didn't have it. So
she touched my leg.
Yeah.
Well, it took a while.
2 years to record.
2 years. And there had been a long break between Downward Spiral. So Downward Spiral was released March 8th, 1994. This was released September 21st, 1999. That is
true.
A long time.
But one thing that I did watch an interview with Trent Reznor, or actually a few of them, in preparation for today's episode. And one thing that he mentioned is he kind of did get like some flack or whatever, just for the long time between albums. But he said it as, well, look, I made Downward Spiral, then basically toured for 2 years.
Probably, right?
And then probably took a little time off because I think he said that by the end of that, making the album and the tour, he was just as a person just in a really weird kind of place, right? Yeah, so took some time off and then spent 2 years recording this. So it's not as if, he was just like kicking it a year from now, just kicking it in the Caribbean and saying to himself, Marcellus Wallace was right.
Definitely not. Yeah.
So
he was not saying that.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, Butch. Oh, man. That's good shit.
But I think it's interesting because this was the period when he lived in New Orleans.
Yeah, and Nothing Studios.
Yeah, so his own studio,
which was a mortuary.
Yeah, that's kind of. So yeah, you think about someone who has like maybe some personal depression-ish kind of issues, drug issues. That darkness. Seems like a really bad place to locate yourself, New Orleans. I mean, it's one of 2 cities in the United States that allows for open carry of alcohol. Sure. Now, open carry means more nowadays, but it should just mean alcohol because the fact that people can openly carry guns is fucking weird too. But
you could also make the argument that because it does have all that, it's maybe rather convenient. So,
well, yeah, true.
So, I mean, it depends which way you look at it. Glass half full, glass half empty. White Claw half full, White Claw half empty.
Yeah, I just like the idea of being able to go out and have some drinks and you'll be like, oh, I just need one extra bottle of beer for my walk home. Like, that seems perfectly logical to me.
So reasonable. Yeah. Not too much to ask. Okay. So, it's a good thing that, a place like New Orleans is out there. So, but this is a fairly, like we discussed, this is a fairly big album, 2 discs. He was recording it for a couple of years, and I think there's a couple different things that, you know, we kind of wanted to do. I think we've kind of established, one, they're not named disc 1 and disc 2. It's disc left and disc right, which is just kind of a cool, different way to do that. And then also, so the way the vinyl is split up, it is 3 records, and basically the first half is on the first, what you'd call the first 3 sides of, you know, disc 1, and then the first side of disc 2. The second side of disc 2 is where right starts, and then disc 3 is the finishing part.
I see.
Of right.
So it's basically 3 sides of CD.
Yeah,
which makes sense. But you know,
now,
so there's a couple of interesting exercises here.
Yes,
one of them.
We want to play some stuff, guys.
Yeah, and I intend to, when as soon as this is released, I think we need to both put our respective lists in the comments section.
Yes,
but anyways, I think you could. There's a couple things. Now, one thing would be, what if you took it down and made one CD, not one vinyl, because it would be really short. But one, could you make it like one disc? And I know, dude, you were talking about that was one proposal by Mr. Bob Robert Ezrin.
Yeah,
notably also had a big hand in The Wall. Which is interesting because this album was compared to The Wall in a lot of ways, and I can kind of see that. I mean, for like 9 Inch Nails, it's definitely like their Wall, if that makes sense.
Well, the funny thing is so here's the deal. This will kind of bring the whole Bob Ezrin thing. We'll tie all this in. He was brought in. So Trent had been recording for 2 years. Bob Ezrin was basically brought in. His sole purpose was not to produce or anything like that, was to basically go through all the material that they had recorded, which Bob Ezrin said was basically 4 hours of material. And we're talking songs, instrumentals, little snippets, things like that, and put it in this sort of logical, coherent order, kind of come up with a sort of a theme or a concept and everything. And so when he walked into the studio, he had never met Trent Reznor before or anything like that. He walked into Nothing Studios, and dude, he saw a poster of The Wall. But it should be known that they didn't put it there because, like, oh, hey, Bob Ezrin's here, and he's co-producer of The Wall.
Coming, everybody look busy. Yeah,
exactly. It was not that. Oh man, yeah, I got a busy day tomorrow. But basically, it's been said that The Wall is Trent Reznor's favorite album. So that's actually why it was up there. But he did. So he went through all the tracks, and they kind of worked through everything, and he came up with a couple different versions of the Fragile. But he did actually put together a single disc. And he told Trent Reznor that basically, hey, if you want to have what did he say exactly? Yeah, if you want to be really brave, you'll put it out this way. And Trent was like, he just couldn't leave that much on the cutting room floor. Which, you've been working on something, dude. 2 years worth of material, man. I think
it's been hard enough cutting it down to 2 discs.
Yeah. That's basically kind of what he said. That's another reason he brought Bob Ezrin in to help him out. So that would be really cool. And we'd love it if some of you guys would, in the comments below, put together, if you could do it in one disc, which is what do we say, 72 minutes ish?
CD? Yeah, I mean, they're 80, but at this time, I don't know if they had made 80-minute CDs. So I think 74 was the original length of a CD. Okay. So in that area, if you can just kind of get it there, like, it would be awesome to see what songs people pick, what order they put them in. That it'd just be like a fun thing to do, I think. Because really, you only got to cut out like 20 minutes. 25, 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, I'd say 25 minutes.
I think another interesting thing would do, which I would be interested in too, is if you had to make a double vinyl out of it.
Oh, fuck.
So that means you only got to take out the second disc. You probably only need to take out like 6, 7, 8 minutes. The first disc, 10 or 12 minutes. But that would be an interesting one too if you were to make it a double vinyl.
Well, because you got to, especially to fit everything on there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Just a thought. Just spitballing, throwing darts at the wall.
Well, even, that's one thing that I think a lot of people always discuss when we're talking about a double album. Oh, is there filler songs? Is there too much here and too much there? Obviously, we've done the White Album. We've talked about that. But Trent Reznor said something really interesting that he thought about doing, and maybe he should have done looking back on it, was actually put it out as 2 separate albums, kind of the way Radiohead. He said the way Radiohead did with Kid A and Amnesiac. They're recorded same time, same sessions, but put them out as 2 separate albums. So that's something. It sounds like he had maybe thought about that after the fact. Personally, this is my favorite Nine Inch Nails album. I love it that there's so much on there. I love that it's double disc, and especially
for mine too.
For having not put anything out for 5 years. It's just kind of, I'm just gonna slap you in the face with like a double disc.
Now,
like
did you
a full double disc?
Did you read that? Yeah, that and it is a real slap in the in our collective mouths,
collective nuts.
But over a year before he released the album, he said something that was really funny, which it's taken, especially now, as like deliberately misleading to just kind of mess with people. But he said that the album would be irritating to people because it's not traditional Nine Inch Nails. He said, think of the most ridiculous music you could ever imagine with nursery rhymes over the top of it, a bunch of pop songs. So I'm sure there were fans who were just like, fuck this, he's lost his mind, but it's certainly
definitely
not that. And I wanted to speak to something that you mentioned regarding filler songs.
Yes.
I guess I can understand that more. And I'm only using this as an example because we recently discussed it. But with the White Album, where there are songs in there, I mean, where would the world be without Revolution 9? I don't know. But to me, that's mostly garbage filler, where this... to me, there isn't songs in here that are filler. It was a different purpose. It was meant to be like this kind of dark, introspective, I don't want to say primarily, but heavily instrumental kind of journey.
Yeah.
Because I read another quote where he mentioned something that it's like there aren't as many lyrics on the records because it's like he couldn't think. It was, from where he was mentally and personally kind of going into the process of making it.
Sure, the way his head was. And one thing I mean, I've listened to this album a million times, and one thing that stood out to me more maybe this 100. Time, because maybe 100, was he left in a lot of the songs, he'll leave like space, and they talk about certain soundscapes and things like that, but he'll leave kind of some empty spaces here and there, and it's kind of cool. It gives it that sort of that open feeling and kind of this, and he described it, it's like almost like he's lost and searching and whatnot, and you just kind of feel that he leaves emptiness, and you definitely feel that within some of the songs, whereas I mean there's plenty of layers, plenty of thickness and sound. Like he is not lacking for that by any means, because this album has some very intense moments. But there's also some just kind of soundscapey Journey songs, right? That are pretty cool. And not Journey like the band. There's not that, but it does have that kind of feeling, sort of a like mysterious. And for me, and this is just me listening, and we would also, I think one thing it would be great to ask people is, do you have a favorite disc? Do you prefer left or prefer right? For me personally, I prefer left. And I think they're very different. I feel like left has more of the soundscapes, and it has a more mysterious feel, where when I think of right, I feel like right is more of I don't know if I'd call it a singles album, but I feel like it's more of a collection of songs personally. I just like the flow of left more. I think it does flow better personally.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because I'm like, well, because, most of the songs on there that are like my favorite ones are on that one. But then I'm like, oh, I don't know. Into the Void.
I know.
The Big Come Down.
Dude, Big Come Down's so good.
Fucking Ripe with Decay.
Ripe Decay.
So, okay, this is what I'd like to do, because we tend to focus on the ones that we would cut. Can you give me a top 5? Top
My
5.
favorites?
Yep. Whew. Top 5 and a bottom 2. That's our what we're doing today.
I would say, okay, a top 5 in no order. Definitely Into the Void. I love Somewhat Damaged. I mean, dude, it's tough. We're in this together. Fragile, Just Like You Imagined.
Okay. I'm going to stick with your first 2. Somewhat Damaged. I've always really loved that song. Into the Void is amazing. I'd have to go with The Big Come Down. I would have to go with, dude, Even Deeper, man, because and we'll talk about this more when we get into that song, but I think the beat on that song is absolutely incredible. But we'll get into that. Yeah. I got a soft spot for Pilgrimage too.
Dude, I do too. And that's an intense song. We'll talk about that too. That's an interesting one.
I'm
trying to think. Yeah,
I'm thinking at this point, just based on the length of what we're doing, we may just want to get into the songs because there's a lot of other stuff I want to talk about, but I think a lot of it pertains to the songs.
Yeah, and I think it should be said, this album not only has length, but it definitely has girth too. And we certainly know how to listen to it. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, I think we should definitely get into it because.
What about the cover, real quick? That was one thing. Being that you are a photographer, Deuterino, I kind of wanted to know. The bottom is from okay, that's what I didn't understand. So they screwed up the photos at the one
of the
bottom part, right?
I don't know if it's the bottom or the top part.
Oh, whatever. I thought when you flip it around, I thought it was like the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it said that like the bottom part was this super close up of inside a seashell and it got screwed up. And then the other part is that waterfall, which I believe is in Iceland.
Yeah, it's in Iceland. I took it as the flower part. The flowers were supposed to be on the front. This is what the front, I guess, was supposed to be.
Oh,
and that got messed up. So they ended up putting it in the back. Dude, I've always really loved the artwork in this. It's just so... It has this abstractness, sort of, and it's just... Oh, man, it's just really cool, man. I dig it.
It's like if Kid A was based on pictures and not like computer generated drawings. Like the colors to me are the same with the emphasis on like the red. You know what I mean? There's some sort of similarity that I've always.
Dude, it's like digitized nature. It's
cool.
Yeah. No, it's very cool.
So
I've always liked the artwork to this.
Another thing real quick that I thought was interesting was the basis for one of these interviews that I watched with Trent Reznor about this. One thing they went into was Napster because Napster had just come out. And he didn't have like a total dickhead stance on it by any means, because I do agree with what he's saying. I mean, it is theft. Now the streaming model, you can get streaming and for free with ads or whatever, but at least in the streaming model certainly does not benefit the artist in the same way as like buying an album, but it does something. And at least there's something going on there, because he was pretty adamantly against it, that basically just stating like, I don't really know how else to say it. Like, it is theft. Like, it took a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of things to make this happen. And then it just, it's given away. So I get that. And it was so funny because they brought up one of his contemporaries who was completely on the other side. It was singing the praises of Napster, and that was Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. And Reznor's remark was basically like, because they said, well, what about so-and-so? And he was like, well, he's basically a moron anyways. So.
Yeah.
Which
Dude,
I thought was funny.
Trent does not shy away from like how he feels about people and musicians and artists. Like if he doesn't like you or thinks you're just not putting out good stuff, like there's some quote where he was talking about, he even said something. It was kind of about trying to think the bands that they said. I want to say like Foo Fighters were one. He even said something about Beck and somebody else. He was like, oh, I was watching MTV or watching TV or whatever. He's like, oh, I saw these bands. And he was just like, it wasn't even, I don't think, criticizing necessarily their music. He was just like, I just wouldn't want to be in that band. Like, I just, that's not the band I would want to be in. And I can understand that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. And one thing I've noticed in his interviews is, I think number one, he speaks very eloquently, especially as he's gotten older. Yeah, he's very articulate. And I noticed listening back to our stuff, he thinks about what he's going to say, says it very direct and plainly and articulately. Does not have verbal crutches. That's a hard one, dude. That's a hard dude. You know what I mean? But yeah. So, anyways,
it is hard not to do that. It is so hard.
It is
unbelievably hard. So let's.
But it's hard to just be in a successful podcast and just day after day hitting the grindstone. You're just on,
grueling.
You're coming at me from all sides about what am I going to
spent like 5 hours researching this today and listening to the album. It's been rough. So, all right, we're going to try to keep this under an hour. No promises, but we need to get into the tracks here.
Yep.
So, all right, we're going to start with the left because it seems like that's where most people start. Yeah. And I think even Trent said at one point, he said, it's a bleaker album because it arrives back where it starts. He says the album begins with Somewhat Damaged and ends with Ripe with Decay. So even from his perspective, I think that's kind of how he meant it. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just I just think it's cool not calling it disc 1 and disc 2. It's like, hey, let's do something creative.
Yeah.
So
makes you think of the stereo image at least somewhat. Now, I've always liked the build up for this song is really great. But one thing I like that you hear in this album and I hadn't heard prior to them is it sounds almost like a nylon guitar or like a ukulele or something that gives you it's certainly not a plugged in instrument. It's an acoustic instrument that's in there and it has that timbre.
It does. It's a very interesting way to start the album, the way it comes in.
Okay. It's just got that
like
little
that.
It's got that little pluck bit to it. And not even I wouldn't even say like an acoustic guitar. For some reason I think of, and if it is, I don't know, there's just interesting tones that he uses, and I really like the kind of dichotomy of having that set against some like super heavy shit, because the heavy stuff has this real big sound with a long decay, and though that's really short and abrupt almost,
it is. And I mean, as with many of the songs on this album, it's very dark. But not just dark in a sense of just being dark for dark. I feel like there's a deepness to a lot of the songs on this album. I don't find it quite as aggressive as Downward Spiral.
This song I do.
There's aggressive. It's different to me. Whereas when I think of like, God, what Mr. Self-Destruct.
Oh yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
Like there's just, to me there's I don't know. They're very different, and I just don't feel like it has that. It has that intensity, but there's something, I don't know, sort of, I guess, destructive about the Downward Spiral. Just when I listen to it.
Well, sure. Now,
and I think that's because this has the spaces too.
Yeah, true. Now, I will ask you, did you read the bit about how, according to a CIA document titled Guidelines for Interrogation Methods, the song Somewhat Damaged was one of 13 songs played to detainees at Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay.
Supposedly as a means of torture.
Dude, I want to know what the other 12 songs are. Like, that would be... Dude, let's scratch that album.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'm actually gonna, I mean, we may not get to it in this episode, but I just, in the background, I kind of need to look that up.
And you guys should definitely feel free to Google this after you're done listening to the episode, obviously, because that would be pretty interesting to know. Man.
Oh, okay.
Dude, talk about a feather in your cap, right?
Yeah, I don't know that if he saw it that way, but wow, there's some interesting ones. 11 popular songs, so there's obviously more, but 11 of the popular songs. So The Real Slim Shady by Eminem, Take Your Best Shot by Dope, never heard that. Dirty by Christina Aguilera, Zikarita, My Memories by Muhammad El-Kwasagi, Babylon by David Gray, I Love You by the Barney Themes, oh wow, and Saturday Night Fever by the Bee Gees. Dude, I'm sorry, how is Intro to Muddy Banks of Wishka by Nirvana not like the, I mean, it could be just that and Nine Inch Nails as far as I'm concerned.
Who's in charge of this list? I mean, we need to find this out because we could have some recommendations. Yeah,
next time if they would really consult us. I mean, dude, Revolution 9 should probably be on there. It could be useful for something. Jesus.
Slide on into our DMs.
Oh, dude. Well, we'll get into that when we do Plastic Ono Band, but some great stuff on Yoko Ono's Plastic Ono Band that could be used. Why not?
Why not? Why not? All right. So enough with the CIA Guantanamo Bay. We need to move this along. So we go right into The Day the Whole World Went Away, which is the first single off the album. And a lot of these songs really do transition into each other. And I mean, some of them are just simple crossfades, but a lot of them do transition into each other. Sure. Whereas I feel like on Right, maybe they don't as much from if my memory serves me correctly. But,
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. But dude, it's you know, I really love the way, you know, Somewhat Damaged ends very intensely, and then it kind of crosses over into this, and it's kind of chill and quiet for just like a little bit,
just
right?
a little bit.
Then just a little bit, just to kind of like, just hey, we're gonna calm it down, and then boom, like there's so many of these like roaring guitars and the grittiness, right? Like, oh man. But in this song tends to kind of do that. It does go strong balls to the wall, and then it cuts, and then it'll just like cut to quiet. Which is
not the only one that does that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But now to contrast, the Frail is just. I mean, maybe there's some background ambience, but just solo piano.
I mean, it's pretty, and
it's interesting. Like it's almost like deliberately simple piano. Like it's not complex, but it's what it needs to be.
That's kind of what I had in my notes. I was like, there's nothing, I guess, I'm trying to think of the right word, like flourishing or, you know, overly, I don't know, just that really stands out. It's playing the right notes, right? I mean, that's what he's going for. But definitely towards the end of the song, as it's building up, because it goes right into the Wretched, and it's really cool when they play this song live. If you've seen them play it live, they do a lot of times. They'll play the Frail right into the Wretched. I was at a show once though where they played the Frail, and then instead of going to the Wretched, they just went right into Closer, which was kind of cool because I was like, you start hearing the Frail and you're like, oh, they're gonna go into the Wretched, and then they totally like fuck with you, and they went into Closer, which was kind of cool. But towards the end of this song, there definitely is this synth in the background that is kind of building up, slowly building up, and then the Wretched comes in. It's just like, just such a march, right? That marching drum beat or whatever. It's really, really great. And it's
now, one note that I took is there's a sound in the Wretched that I like because I find it very abrupt and it creates tension, and it almost sounds like like a synthesized version of like rubbing on glass or something, or like scratching glass. You know what I mean? And the way they cut it, it almost sounds like it was reversed. But you could also you could shape the sound wave with the synthesizer to cut in a way that would sound like that too. But I that was one of the things that always stood out to me in that song, was just that little kind of screechy, maybe screechy is the wrong word, but
screech.
Yeah.
Well, there's I don't know if I'm talking about the same thing, but there's something in it that I hear. I was like, oh, it kind of sounds like you're like in a machine being spun around. Like there's just that a lot of those sounds, this grinding machine like. And I know we're talking about industrial music, blah blah, but it's like, dude, it sounds like sometimes you're like in some crazy factory, like Skynet, or like Terminator 2 shit, right? Like
when it becomes self-aware.
Yeah, better watch out, man.
So we're in this together now.
We are into this now.
I don't know. Is that the only video they made for this?
No. Into the Void also has a video.
Oh shit! I don't know that video.
Starfuckers has a video too. Oh. Marilyn Manson co-directed it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, one thing about this one in this video is I've noticed watching it back, it's very much like this dystopia kind of thing. Yeah. It reminds me a lot of watching it of like The Handmaid's Tale, like, except there were no handmaids in it, but you know what I mean? That sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is a trippy video because for those who haven't seen it, basically it's like Trent Reznor is dressed in all black. The video is basically black and white. It might be sepia toned a little bit. I don't know. And then there's all these other guys dressed in all black, and they're just kind of like running around. It's like a warehouse district or something like that. And then basically, spoiler alert, at the end of the video, the song ends, and he's like in the middle of the desert. He gets like knocked over as they're running, and then he wakes up, and he's like the only one there. And then he starts walking around, and then you just see there's no bodies, but you just see everyone's clothes just like all in a pile and everything. It's like, dude, it's so funny. But dude, this song to me is it's probably, it's the longest song on the album. It's over 7 minutes. It hits really hard in parts, like they can bring it up and down. This song has maybe, I don't want to say my favorite lyrics of all time, but the lines, the farther I fall and beside you, as lost as I get, I will find you. The deeper the wound, I'm inside you forever and ever. I'm a part of you. And then you and me, and then, well, he kind of ends it forever and ever. I am a part of, and then it goes right into basically screaming, you and me are in this together. I just like the message of the song. I think it's pretty cool. And it just really hits pretty hard. It's a good track, and the video is cool too. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I wonder if they shortened the song for the video or not. I don't remember seeing that or looking at that last time. But the song comes in on the track about 7 minutes and 16 seconds. But then we go into the Fragile, and dude,
title
love
track.
the percut. Dude, the Fragile, the title track. Ooh, the title track. Love the percussion being on the song. It's kind of, I don't know, it's very basic and kind of, I guess, slowed down in the beginning, but then explodes with, again,
now
like, I won't let you fall apart.
There's one thing that I always found interesting about the whole I won't let you fall apart bit, and that's where he deliberately comes in early on one of them. And I think he might only do that once, like in the first time he says it. I won't fall up. He comes in like half a beat early on, like just one of them.
That's interesting.
I like it. I think it's really swell.
That is cool.
Now,
yes.
Just Like You Imagine is the second instrumental on the album, correct?
Wait, what's the one before?
The Frail.
Oh yeah, the Frail. Sorry, yeah, the Frail. See, it's weird for me. The Frail and the Wretched, I don't really think of them as two separate songs.
You think
I think of them
I know
as
what
one
you mean.
song. So yeah, but this is and. One thing I thought was cool is a few of these songs have been used in movies and movie trailers. Now, Just Like You Imagine was used in the trailer for 300, which I thought was pretty badass and really fit it really well. But dude, I like this. This is one of my favorite instrumentals on the album. Just kind of starting with the piano a little bit, and then there is some acoustic and I don't know, kind of thumps with the drums, but no vocals. But this song, it's weird. For a song that doesn't have vocals, there's so many layers in the way it builds and kind of changes. It has like that. I call it this like industrial mixing bowl screaming, and the way the guitar is kind of comes in roars at times. Yeah. It sounds like it's speaking in a sense, and I feel like this song is continuing. Like you feel like it's reached its peak, and then something else explodes on top of that, and it's really interesting how it just kind of builds and builds off of like each part, and then it ends with that slow little piano thing.
Mm-hmm. I know it.
That's pretty cool. And dude, I think what is that instrument? Is it the theremin? Is it called theremin? Where
you play it by proximity.
Yeah. So I don't know if they use it on the recording of this, but I swear if you watch the DVD, they perform that song, and I believe they play that live.
Oh, that's
there's somebody
sweet.
There's somebody doing it. I'm pretty sure. So I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
That's pretty cool. I would like to watch that. Now, one thing that we didn't talk about with the whole scope of the album, I'm just going to go back to it real quick, was that Reznor worked with Alan Moulder, who's a British record producer. And, dude, I didn't realize how many goddamn things he's done until I read about him. And it's amazing, dude. He did a lot of, he worked with Trent Reznor, it looks like. He continues to.
Sweet.
But man, has he really he mixed villains. Sometimes he does a lot of mixing and then a lot of producing too, but just really, I mean, the guy's resume
CV
would be, pretty impressive. So anyways,
impressive. Cool. Let's go deeper.
Oh, even deeper. So yeah, the thing that's always got me about this is I like the beat. Right?
Yeah.
But then you get like he like really chops it up in the middle. And dude, when I heard that, I was like, that's how you make a beat. I never cared. And even some of the more stuff that's more like techno-y on here, with the exception of maybe Into the Void, isn't my favorite because it's got that just driving, that just like, like you're always hitting the bass, but I love how he chops this beat up. The only beat that I think I could compare it to of his that is as good is what's the for All the Love in the World With Teeth.
Oh yeah,
like that is so beautifully chopped up too.
Yeah. Well, I think for me with this song, what I like about it is, we've had. Not that this song doesn't have as, I guess, stronger and intense moments, but I feel like, especially with the beginning of the song, it gives you a chance to catch your breath a little bit, especially after, we're in this together now, the Fragile, and then Just Like You Imagine. It's like, whoa.
but it's still got edge to it.
It does. It does. It gets loud and has the distorted guitar. But for me, with the way the other songs are just, I feel like just driving forward, basically like pushing you down into the like dirt. Whereas like this one, I feel like it has this little more sort of, it keeps the pace. It's still upbeat, but it's not just jamming your face down. So it's
which is what Pilgrimage feels like.
Dude, this is a third instrumental, right?
Yeah, I like this because Pilgrimage, just in the choice of the song title, evokes like some sort of religious bit into it. You know, you make your religious pilgrimage to, you know, like the Muslims will go to Mecca or yeah, and it just I think that makes it sound even darker because of that religious imagery. And then as it progresses, it just sounds like people marching. And I think at the end, he's actually playing it through like the old Mellotron like orchestra sample because it has this old kind of sound to it. Right, with the driving beat, to me that sounds like something that would have been playing at like one of those crazy Nazi rallies. Like Hitler would be yelling out. You know what I mean?
Dude,
it sounds like that. You hear somebody yelling frantically in German, which is heavy on the consonants. High German too. You know?
Yeah, dude. And you said it right, dude. It has that old feel.
Yeah,
right? Just that old feel, and it does. And hey, I am not.
It's like a propaganda film.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And we are against all of that about 1.5 billion.
Oh yeah, it's just this is the imagery that it evokes.
Man,
just to hear it,
but
of course.
Dude,
yeah,
but being able to capture that sound is fucking like they do it, and it's like I fully admit when I'm like playing this in my apartment, I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't play this too loud because people might get the wrong idea.
Oh, dude, yeah, they would be like, that is some fucking music right there. Man. That's one just better left to headphones, I think, because then you can really appreciate it for what it is.
No, you don't.
Yeah, no, you don't. See, now, to me, No, You Don't kind of has more of like a techno-ish beat or, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
whereas
totally.
some of the other ones that I mentioned were a little more chopped up. But
yeah, to me, this is a more straightforward kind of. I mean, well, it's techno beat, but I just feel like it's kind of a more straightforward sort of rock song. And you know again, strong driving guitar and everything. But for some reason, I don't know why I thought this, but I was like, man, I feel like I could hear this off Broken or something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Like almost, so it's, I don't know. It's pretty interesting, the sound. And, he kind of, he sings the song, but then there's this middle part where he kind of just like half sings just like a little bit. He's like, and just for the record, just so you know, I did not believe that you could sing so low. It's kind of cool. Like he can definitely mix up the way he sings. I kind of like that.
Now, La Mer, is this the third instrumental on left?
Here's the thing about La Mer, my friend. Is this would be technically the fourth. I consider an instrumental, but if you do listen to it,
is he whispering?
You hear a woman speaking because the title is La Mer. I looked that up, and it's when I did the translation.
Doesn't it mean the sea?
I don't know. When I just typed it in on Google, it said on two, like TUE, like abbreviation for Tuesday, but. That makes no sense to me. So I don't know.
I think that's French for the sea, but I never took French, but I think it is.
But so while you look that up, the woman speaking, sounds like she's speaking in French, but I noticed because I had the lyrics showing up on my Apple Music. And dude, the thing is like Apple Music went to the liberty of kind of transcribing it. It was just kind of strange because I was like, wait a minute, she's not singing. So I mean, do you want to call it a instrumental? I have no problem with that, really.
Well, but I don't know. I'm not. We're really splitting hairs here. No, no, but I do want to point out that I was correct, and that does mean the sea in French.
Damn, look at you, boy.
Yeah, and I didn't even look that up beforehand. Just knew that one, which is weird. Cuffs.
So what is said, though, this is what says. This is very short. And when the day arrives, I'll become the sky, and I'll become the sea, and the sea will come kiss me, for I'm going home. Nothing can stop me now. Nothing can stop me now, because I don't care anymore.
Interesting. So Those lyrics are in Into the Void, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Which is very interesting to me because one comment I was going to make on Lemaire is you not almost, you hear him start to play with the musical themes of Into the Void in that song in a much different way. But it is the musical like motifs that he's using. So that's even cooler now that the lyrics translate over as well.
That's fucking badass. Wow. Deep connection. I like it.
Regular fucking Holmes and Watson here. The Great Below.
Let's finish left. The Great Below. Dude, I love how mysterious this song is. In that sort of synth is such an interesting sound when he's kind of singing like "Ocean pulls me close, whispers in my ear." I don't know. It's just such a. I don't know. I don't even know the best way to describe it. I feel like it's some sort of like 80s sound or whatever, but it's just it fits the song so well and gives us this eerie, mysterious thing. And I always think of this, I'm like, it makes me think like, think of the ocean as this dark kind of beast, and it's like night, and I don't know, man, I just get this real eerie feel with it. That's what
they say. We know more about outer space, dude.
Yeah.
Than the depths of the ocean.
That's crazy, dude. There's some shit down there.
Yeah.
It's cold.
There is. Well, and the pressure's pretty rough too. But anyways, so
what do you know about pressure?
So we're gonna scratch after we've kind of went through the.
Yeah. So
we'll
scratch. Yeah. So
picking up the pace.
Sometimes
the right
my
disc,
friend.
The way out is through. I've always liked this because I don't know if you ever played Doom when you were a kid on the computer, but in Doom I always liked that because you got to go to the place and fight your way out, and that was the quote: "The only way out is through."
Oh, dude, I think sometimes it's a good thing, a good way to like live your life by. Like sometimes you just come across some shit, and go through it.
True,
but dude. The way it starts, dude, it almost has like sort of like a sci-fi feel to me. There's something about like the way that it starts. It's very interesting. Again, has like sort of dark and mysterious, and it definitely builds up.
And it gets heavy.
I think it gets heavy, and I just think it's a really cool way to start another disc. I mean, it's very in one hand it's very different than Somewhat Damaged, and on the other hand I'm like
it's not that different. I know what you mean.
It's similar in the way just of it starting an album, and it kind of they both kind of slowly fade in a little bit, and it's kind of cool.
Maybe my favorite song on all of them, or both.
I think it was the third
both
single,
discs,
I believe.
dude. Into the Void. How could that not be the first single? That's just. I feel like even if you don't like Nine Inch Nails, if someone put on this song, you'd be like, all right, that's a hot song. Like it is.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, probably the most radio friendly, I guess I would call on this album too.
For sure.
It's, I mean, dude, love the intro. And dude, is there a cello on this song? Mm-hmm. Okay, is that what that is? I thought that's what I heard.
Well, it could. I mean, he could have done it on the Mellotron too, but
okay.
But either way, cello. It sounds like.
Yeah.
I've always really been fascinated with the percussion.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes
totally,
some of the percussion reminds me of some of like this Tom Waits sort of feel, where it's like you can hear the space in the room and like the plunkiness of it. It just gives it a weird vibe, and I really like that.
There definitely is some. Yeah, I mean, we'll get to some other tracks, but
it's real swell.
Really nice. There's definitely some great percussion.
Where is everybody? As much as I could talk about Into the Void for a good chunk of this episode, I think Where Is Everyone would have been, or everybody, would have been amazing to put after We're in This Together based on how the video ends.
Oh, okay.
If nothing else.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Well, maybe when you create your own disc, you can do that. Ooh.
Oh, man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I do like Where Is Everybody, too, so I probably wouldn't cut that.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I like is there's a few instances where he... I like the way he sings it, but then there's like one spot when he sings I never wanted to be like you. He'll like double his vocals at that part.
Yeah.
And I know it's just kind of a cool little thing, man. I just love doubled vocals when it's
me too, but it's kind of like you're saying, it emphasizes it more if that like isn't your shtick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then when it comes in,
not
it's
a crutch,
like,
man.
Yeah, it's like you're your own hype man. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. But dude, even some of the words though, I mean, you know, I know they're saying, oh, it's not a lyrical album, but I really like
the words that are
says,
there. Yeah.
Kind of, you know, it just says like what he's feeling, what he's doing, you know, pleading and needing and bleeding and breeding and feeding, exceeding. Where is everybody? Like, dude.
Doing all that shit.
Yeah. And this is a song too. And, you know, I know we kind of compared the discs a little bit where I feel like these first three songs, I guess because I've always, you know, kept them separate as discs. I'm like, I don't know if I could hear these songs on left. Like they would feel. I know you said, well, with Where Is Everybody? Yeah, I had to get the theme, but I don't know if I don't know. There's something about the way
it's
these
funny
songs
you ended
are.
there because I was about to be like, dude, you better include The Mark Has Been Made, but it makes more sense. I thought you were going to say like I couldn't. Yeah, because The Mark Has Been Made is to me like your first bridge to the other one.
Sure.
You know, just the way it sounds instrumental. Again, like an acoustic instrument doing that. Bow, 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 you know what I mean? And
dude,
boy, I can't emphasize enough. Like, and they just
right. I know you love that shit.
Oh, dude.
So, dude, this song was actually the song. Have you ever seen the movie Man on Fire with Denzel Washington? It came out in 2004.
Probably not.
Okay, anyways,
it's not ringing a bell.
This song, I don't know if it was used in the movie, but it was used like in the soundtrack, and it's pretty cool. Now, this is a little sidetracked, but dude, it includes Dakota Fanning. She's the little girl. Basically, he is like this sort of bodyguard guy and protects her from whatever. I forget the whole story. But Dakota Fanning, she was in this cute little blonde girl. Like if you IMDb her or look her up. Dude, been in some cool movies that you'd probably know, and a lot of them. I'm trying to think. I Am Sam, she was in that. What was else she was in? But dude, now she's grown up.
Oh
and
yeah,
dude, she was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You want to know who she was? Dude,
she was. What's her? Was she Tate?
Dude, no, that was Margot Robbie. Dude,
she was one of the
Spawn
Manson's
Squeaky.
girls.
Yeah, dude, she was Squeaky. So in Spawn Ranch, she was the one in the George Spawn, played by Bruce Dern. Great actor.
She was like his personal caretaker.
Dude, yeah, she and Brad Pitt goes up and is like, "Oh, I want to see George," and then she goes back and sits down. And she's like, "You might be tired because I fucked his brains out earlier." And it's just so funny to think of her like saying that when you think of her as this like cute little girl in these movies. And
dude, and it's really depressing when you look and you're like, oh, she was born in February of 1994. You know, because I was already fucking 13 at that point.
Yeah, it makes us feel really old. But it is interesting to see her like as a kid in 2004, and now she's like this adult.
Kind of like Natalie Portman in Leon, The Professional.
Leon. Oh, so good. All right. Please, Grim. Please.
Please is another one to me. I want to say it felt like it had more of a kind of repetitive-ish style beat, like the song. Nothing against the song.
It's just kind of that straightforward rock song.
Yeah. It just there's something about me. He makes the cut ups so good, where it's when he does stuff that's straight on, except for In the Void. But Into the Void has just more of a choppy beat by nature. It's not so fast, so it feels cut up. But anyways, yeah.
Well, I like his vocal cadence on it, and there's actually elements of this song. When I heard it this last time, when I listened to it, there's actually elements that I'm like, wow, some of it sounds like it could fit with Teeth. It doesn't have necessarily some of the beats, but it's got that drill guitar sound and kind of the way he sings it and everything. Like that is such a With Teeth thing for me. Mm-hmm. There we go. We'll move on to number 6, Starfuckers, or for
Incorporated.
Starfuckers Incorporated, or for the censored version, Starsuckers Incorporated.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
So, but I thought, dude, I think it's funny the kind of song references, Carly Simon's "You're So Vain," right?
Yeah. I do like that part too. And it's interesting because he was not the first person to kind of use this term. Have you listened to the Rolling Stones? I think it's on Goat's Head Soup.
It is on Goat's Head Soup, because I remember looking this up a little bit and reading that.
That they have a song.
Star or something like that? Is it Star? Is that the name of the song?
Yeah, Star, sure. But I'm looking at the... Yeah. Yeah, see now, originally the song was called Starfucker, which is slang for a groupie. And I want to say, if you listen to it, you can hear him say, "You're a starfucker, star." Like they say it in sort of a not so blatant way, but I remember hearing that and being like, damn, that was ballsy for the 70s.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know that was kind of referenced from when I looked up info on that song.
See, I didn't even look up info on it. I just knew about it.
You're looking it up now. Anyways.
I am now, yeah.
Yeah, see.
Because I want to make sure I was right. But
fucking doing my homework. Some people do it while they're in class. Some people do it before class.
Well, those were, and sometimes the teacher's like, well, we'll correct our homework together. And you're like, yeah, you mean do your homework?
I'll be trained with a buddy.
I got them all right.
Yeah, oh shit.
That's when you got to get a couple wrong.
Yeah. But dude, a lot of it is said that this song's really about Marilyn Manson and Courtney Love, and especially Manson, because they had a heated argument apparently, but then they patched things up, I guess, in time for Manson to co-direct and appear in the music video. But then they had another falling out, and recently, I don't know if you've heard this, but more than a dozen women have accused Marilyn Manson of sexual assault. And Reznor has denounced him again.
I'm kind of not surprised. I mean, yeah. Anyways,
weird. Anyways, we don't need to.
That's weird.
Yeah. It's complicated, which brings us to our next song, Complication.
I was gonna say, good movie.
Another instrumental.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of real pearls of wisdom to add here. Some of them jump out.
No,
some
don't. But I will say with this, to me, it has this like sort of chaotic club feel. Like it's really upbeat, and I could totally see this in sort of a movie scene where there's people just, I don't know, just for like one of those sections where they like cut to people getting all fucked up and partying in a club, and like some shit's about to go down, and there's strobe lights and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I think about this song. And now we move on to "I'm looking forward to joining you." Finally.
I do. I like the finally at the end.
Yeah, of course. Dude, yeah, this is a cool song, but it's also very different. It's really bare. Like basically the percussion and the bass just kind of drive the song with his vocals. And I don't know, like he also does a cool thing. Again, we go back to the doubling the vocals, but there's in some parts he does his best Isaac Brock impression, even though this is
far away from the mic, background vocals.
Yeah, but what's cool about it is he doubles his vocals. So he doubles his vocals with the distant background. Instead of it just being the background, he'll double the vocals. So he's singing it normal, but then the other side is the far away side too. It's pretty neat. So I thought that was cool.
Well played.
Well played. Well, it's time to come down.
One of my favorites.
Dude. The production on this song, the beat that he creates is so badass, is it not?
Yeah, it really is. I should have done that ahead of time, but I was gonna kind of
fucked up the timing.
mess with that little riff that he does, because that is another just excellent example of it on some weird kind of acoustic-ish, or at least acoustic-ish sounding instrument. It's clean. Definitely. Maybe it's not even acoustic, but it's clean.
Dude, I have it as, I mean, I just thought it was acoustic myself, but it has that real clean, but it's sort of, I don't know, sort of creepy. But that beat that he creates in the beginning is just such an interesting chop up. Yeah. And you can hear him because when he starts to sing, it's like he includes that in the beat, like just like that like little snippet where he's just about to say, but he cuts it off, dude, and then it's like, oh, and then he goes into it after, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 10 rounds of it, but it's really cool, man.
I know. Really cool. I really like the way that the beat kind of builds. I think that's really cool, and it reminds me of when we saw them, one of the times we saw them live, and
I've seen him play this song live. Have you seen him play? Were you at one of the ones where they play?
I believe so. But he holds up basically or he's not even holding it up. It's on a screen, but it's like a that too. It's like a beat. I can't even pick it up right now, but it's like a 16-step sequencer. And it's shown visually on this screen, and it's so cool because he's just like hitting the square, which is on one of these sequencers. This is how you build a beat. Like the light goes through each step, and you select your instrument, and you're like, all right, I want the kick drum here, here, here. And it was really, I thought that was such a cool part of the show for like to basically show the audience how you do that, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know.
No,
have never used.
Dude, he's like actually doing it. Like most people are just like, oh, they just do that backstage and whatever. But that's pretty badass, man. He's like, oh,
well, I'm sure it's all tied into a computer, but yeah, still it's really cool. I was always fascinated by that seeing it live, but
underneath
real
it all.
Good beat architect.
Yes,
underneath it all.
Short song, very very short.
Yeah,
but I do like. I do like the way he kind of sings it. It's got this, there's something going on in the song where it has this, like, when I say electricity, I don't mean electronic, but there's like this electricity sort of synth sort of feel. I don't know, kind of when I listen to it, but I don't know. I just love the way, at the end, it just kind of, how he builds it up, and there's just like so many layers. And then I listen to it in headphones. And, when he sings All I Do, I Can Still Feel You. And it's just like, it has that weird sound. It's kind of like, back in the day when you had like a headphone jack and you're like, you kind of you had it kind of like all the way in, sort of almost, but it'd kind of twitching in and out. But then I listened to that part again in headphones. And what it sounds like to me is they must have made a shit ton of like little cuts and little chops. Whereas when it's in the left ear, it's not in the right. And when it's in the right, it's not in the left. And it has this really weird thing. And that helps kind of get that sort of choppiness to it. Yeah. I'd listen to it, in headphones. Because once I heard that, I was trying to figure out like what they were doing. And I was like, shit, I need to listen to the headphones. And so I did. Well, that sounds cool.
Yeah. And that you can do that, I think, with an auto panner too, or delays can ping pong back and forth. Because it sounds like a really short delay almost, just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing I was going to mention about this one that I really like is the kind of lyrical tie-in that he has, because like one of the first audible lyrics in the Way Out Is Through is Underneath It All.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
We feel so small. I just think that's kind of cool. It's kind of like how Lemaire references Into the Void. Like I like those tie-ins between songs.
Great. Absolutely. Well, so now it's time to wrap up the album. We started somewhat damaged, and now we're just right, but with Decay. So
I don't know really how that applies to anything, but I like the title.
I think it's a fun play on words. That's kind of what I like. But again, last track, I mean, it's an instrumental, I think, again, right?
Yeah.
But I just feel
I like it. It's almost like in some ways it brings me back to Hurt before he starts singing.
Okay. Wow.
You know?
All right.
It may not, I'm not going to get all like music nerd in them and analyze the chord structure and all that shit, but it's just like an overall kind of sound and feeling.
I got you. Yeah, it definitely has some different things going on. It's I mean, now that I think about it, it's kind of a strange song. I mean, not that, but there's like some weird kind of
anytime
crazy...
you add Decay to a song like that, it's going to get weird.
Absolutely. But there's like just some, I don't know, sort of like crazy piano, and there's acoustic strumming, but then I don't know, just there's like buzzing sounds in the background. There's just like a lot of things going on, and I feel like
it's the buzzing.
It's the buzzing?
The buzzing is happening in Hurt, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot of buzz. A lot of fridge buzz in Hurt.
And and right where you belong.
Now in the vinyl, however, the decay part there's no decay. It's only ripe.
No, what does that mean? Is the song any different? How long is it?
I don't have the length in front of me.
God damn it!
I know it is. I think it's about a minute and a half shorter.
Oh, it is.
And there is somewhat of a and there is somewhat of a transition in the song that I'm like, oh, okay, that's probably where the decay part comes in. But yeah. Anyways.
So then, dude, I mean, with or without?
Right. With or without?
Decay, man. Which one?
Pick it up. I would love some Decay. I love a little Decay.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be I mean, personally, I would rather have that full song than I think, 10 Miles High, and then the new something are the ones that they added on the vinyl. I'd rather finish that song, I think.
I like the title over 10 Miles High. It's like, I listened to 8 Miles High by the Byrds. Thought it was a fucking great song. Just wanted to go a little farther up.
2 more. The New Flesh. Okay. Yeah. Well, Rin Tin Tim, we're going to start scratching. We're going to scratch.
Yep.
The way we do doubles, we scratch one disc and we scratch the other. That's what we do. So, I don't know. Maybe you should scratch the first disc and I'll scratch the second.
Okay, that's fair, because I think on the last full album that we did, I think I made you go first. I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Who's to say?
So I'm scratching the first one.
Yes.
I'm going to scratch No You Don't.
Whoa. Mm-hmm. You want to know what, Graham?
Over. Oh my stars. I did not see that coming. I thought I was going to get a what the fuck is that? No, I thought I was going to get one of those. Wow.
Overtime.
Dude, now you're putting me on the spot. Ooh.
Yep.
So is your reasoning similar to mine? It just like this. It's a fine song, but to me, it almost doesn't fit the album because
100%.
It's just so straight ahead. And
it is. I think I said, it's a straightforward rock song. I think I said it sounded like it could be on Broken or something. It just, to me, nothing stands out. And especially, I think of Pilgrimage is an instrumental, and then La Mer is an instrumental, might as well be. That I know you wouldn't want to put two instrumentals in a row, but I could definitely lose it, and I wouldn't think twice. Don't think twice. It's all right. Trim, what do you got? You got an overtime for me?
Yeah. If we're going into overtime, I think I would cut The Great Below.
Fuck. All right. What the fuck
is that? Oh, really? Well, dude, it's double overtime. Not my first choice. You forced this shit. No. And the only reason I say that is because I think that if I had to, right, Lemaire could be a very interesting bridge from one disc into the other as it references musically what's coming.
Okay.
With the U.
See, I, however, would cut Lemaire second. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I figured yours would be one of the two. I like the crossover, and that's why I'd keep it. So.
All right, fine. Fucking fine.
Yeah.
All right, so on disc right, this one was tough for me. There's a lot of good songs, and left is left is more my favorite.
I feel like something's gonna happen here.
Gosh, and now I'm thinking about it, I'm sort of doubting myself why I chose this one. Because to be honest, the song that I'm going to tell you what I'm going to scratch, and then I'm going to tell you my backup.
Why my scratch is wrong. No.
Yeah, so dude, I'm actually going to go with the mark has been made. Which?
Oh, dude, I do have to throw up. What the fuck is that shit? Because it's such a good piece of continuity between the two, and I really like that.
I know, I do too. I'm doubting. I'm just doubting myself now. I'm really.
As you should be.
I really am. All right, what's yours?
Oh, Starfuckers. I could just do without that song. It's not to be honest. Great.
Yeah, go ahead. You finish, and I'll tell you my reasoning why that was my second.
I just totally get. I can, especially being someone who is, actually a part of this world. I'm sure that there are a lot of hangers on, and so I could really understand why a song like this would come about.
Why do you think I'm here? I'm just riding coattails, bro.
God, it's heavy. But yeah, it just it's almost just like it seems vulgar for the sake of being vulgar. Whereas when you use the F word in a song like Somewhat Damaged, it really conveys like what the word is supposed to, like where the fuck were you?
Oh, that one, yeah.
Oh, that part too. Actually, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
To Care Anymore.
Yeah, and I will say the one that I do skip is Starfuckers.
Yeah.
When I listen to this album, I feel like it kind of breaks the feel of the album. The whole time, if you're listening, it's been all this sort of deeper, emotional, introspective stuff. And I just feel like this is... I feel like, how I said earlier, I was like, there's not that intense aggression sort of that's piercing. And I feel like this song actually has that.
Yeah.
In more of a downward spiral type way.
Yes. Yeah. I think it would make more sense than that. One thing I've always loved about this song is how he just really he puts his vocals in basically like a blender.
Oh, dude.
That's really cool.
The production is fucking good, man.
Yeah,
it is.
It really is.
I love
really
that
cool.
too. Yeah, it's good. But as far as album and flow, I can't argue with that. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, we could go to fucking overtime on this one. We won't, but I would probably, if I'm listening to the album, I'll listen to the Mark has been made, and then I will skip this one. But So anyways, well, Graham, we ran a little over on this one, but it was a double disc, and it's a pretty fucking good one. In fact, dude, this is my top 10 albums all time. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. It is. It's my is it your favorite Nine Inch Nails or With Teeth?
Is it? Ooh, boy, I don't know. With Teeth. Really kind of a game of bloody knuckles for me between this one and With Teeth.
Oh, man, I haven't played that in a long time. Yeah. This one, dude, this one for me is just fucking...
I know. It's just such a...
such a complex,
Yeah, a lot of ins, a lot of outs. There are a lot of what have's on this, but I think that one thing where I think you could make the argument for me to put it over is just I like the instrumental bits. I like the room to breathe. Breathe
in the air. Don't be afraid to care. Well, Graham, I think we should remind everyone to, one, let us know your scratches on each disc. Also, let us know if you're gonna bring this down to like one disc. O to B. Give us your track listing. We're going to try to be really good and do our homework and put our track listings down there. Hopefully we can do that.
And one thing we should have mentioned, if you made it this far, you probably already have, but if you haven't, maybe give us a
like, subscribe, and comment below.
Yeah.
Do that because we just passed 200 today. Super excited. All right.
Well, all right.
What do you say, Grim? Should they we're going to tune out. What should they do?
Tune in.
Yeah.
For next week's exciting episode.
It's going to be a good one, whatever it is. Time to go. Dude and Grim Show.
Scratch a Track is produced by the Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by Moore and the Tims. Copyright 2021. The Dude and Grim Show.
In terms of media, of course, the thing that is occupying the foreground is nostalgia.